I grew up in a little town down the south coast called Manana with my mum, my dad and my two sisters. My mum was always Christian. She came from Christian upbringing, so her dad was a pastor, and my grandmother was also, like, she's really strongly connected to God and has always had a good relationship with Jesus and stuff like that. So yeah, it was just, I was brought up in a place where religion was encouraged and it was talked about, but I never really had a strong belief system, even though I did go to a Christian school and had that Christian upbringing. When I was 12, I was diagnosed with depression and autism, so Asperger's syndrome, and that diagnosis took a massive blow, I guess, to my self-esteem and who I was. I was always struggling with socializing to start off with, but now I had a label to it and a diagnosis, and it didn't actually make it better for me, it made it worse. Almost to the stage where I felt like I wasn't worth being loved. I was a freak, I was a weirdo. I was my own worst enemy when it came to, I bullied myself essentially, and it was this self-hate relationship that lasted for a very, very long time. I've only been learning to love myself recently actually, so it's pretty crazy to think that that entire time I had this relationship with myself where I really didn't think I was worth anything at all. I was driving home one afternoon and from a night shift, and it was a series of these night shifts, and this shift was actually an afternoon, and what ended up happening was I ended up feeling like I was going to fall asleep, and there was this feeling deep within me that I needed to pray for protection, and it was really weird, and I was like, oh, I haven't really prayed in a long time, and so I was like, okay, I'll just do this. I prayed for protection, and I was in a pretty dark state as well, and I was basically just saying, if something does happen and I die, then I guess that's okay, because I don't know what my purpose is. What is my purpose here? You know, if that's the definition of what my purpose is, then that's fine. I ended up having the accident and falling asleep, and I survived it, and it was one of those moments where I had met the firefighters who were on scene after the accident, and they told me, like, you shouldn't have survived. Like, that was a miracle. We don't understand how you're still alive. I ran into a tree at 100 kilometers per hour, and I only had 8 fractured bones and a concussion, and that was it. And I was up and moving again in 8 months or something like that, and so the entire thing was this crazy thing that people just don't understand. And then deep inside of me, I'm like, well, God's definitely real and he's got something for me, and I really need to figure myself out and figure out where I'm going and figure out this relationship that I have with God and actually understand what it's all about, because I'm obviously ready to learn more, I guess. After my accident, I decided that I needed to take my relationship with God seriously, because he'd given me so much. My life was still here and I needed to pay it back, so I was just so excited to get back to going to church, and there was just this new passion in me that I couldn't explain. So when I got back, I was really excited, but there was still these inklings of feelings that my worth was connected to what people thought of me, and I was still telling myself, you're unloved, you're not worthy, you're a freak, you're a weirdo, all stemming back to the fact that I was basically called by the world disabled, essentially, somebody who struggles with a social disability, and who isn't like other people, who isn't normal, neurotypical, and that was what I was stemming all my focus on. It wasn't until I had someone from church, a couple of my close mentors, turn around and tell me, why are you saying these things about you? It's not what God says that you are. And I went on this complete journey of understanding God's love. And through understanding what God's love was like, discovered, oh, I haven't been treating myself the way I should be because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And that seems weird to say because I do have a diagnosis, but that diagnosis doesn't define me. I'm not a kid with autism and ADHD. I am a child of God. If I could leave you guys with anything, it would be just to give your labels to God. Like, I'm still not 110%. Like, I'm not going to be the person that says that she's perfect at this now. No way. I still struggle with my feelings of self-worth, and it's always a battle, it's always a journey, but it's so important for you to realize that you are loved and you are worthy, and that the labels that you put on yourself, they don't matter. God's love matters, His worth matters, what He says about you matters. And I'm just so excited for this next season of revival that Celebration Church is going into, because I just feel like something's going to shake up. These chains that we keep putting on ourselves, they're going to break. And I'm so excited to be a part of that season.